All right, everybody. This will be just another quick one. Warning to all politicians. I'm running for president 2024. This will be part 9. So I want to touch on the word games and the political process and the parties. Excuse me. And some things about immigrants coming to this country and our education system. Why they don't teach, civics anymore in grade school and go over, and why our founding fathers, the past several years, especially during the Obama administration, were, pretty much every time you turned on the TV or flipped through the radio dial, driving down the road, you heard about these groups, and this country is founded by white racists and all this, and the founding fathers, this and that and everything, and the attacks been going on since. And I don't think people who are being brought up in the education system or who come to this country have a clear picture of the founding of this country and its founding documents, and that we're a constitutional republic, and how democracy works. Like, for example, why we have our checks and balances and things like this. Because, like, if you look at what Benjamin Franklin said, democracy is 2 wolves and a lamb deciding what's for dinner. You understand that? So we have a constitution, so that it doesn't become mob rules. And we have checks and balances, so it does not become mob rules. That the rights of everybody, no matter their race or religion, can be protected, and an order can be maintained, and a civil society can be maintained, and the domestic tranquility can be maintained. And I'll give you an example. I was me and another guy, a driver. This was during Obamacare and stuff, and he was African American and everything. And right off the bat, when I said, it's a bunch of crap, and he started in about he knew this person who couldn't have had this operation and everything if it wasn't for Obamacare, and she got it for free and all this. I said, that's the point. It wasn't free. Everybody whose premiums went up paid for it. I helped pay for part of her operation and other people's stuff when my premiums doubled. And so anyway, right off the bat, I was whatever you say, they tell you, and try and talk truth to anybody. Their automatic response, they've been trained to say, is you're a racist. Now, if you look at the communist, the Lenin, Marx, and all this, and socialist doctrines and stuff and everything, part of it's right in their handbook, is prey on the uneducated, to have them more or less be your foot soldiers, and you lead them down the road to what you want to accomplish. So there was this girl in that room who came from the Dominican Republic. She says, oh no, this is democracy. It's what the people want. I said, no, it's a constitutional republic. It is not always what the people want, because even the founding fathers discussed what if the people are morons. So anyhow, when I meet somebody who's African American, Mexican, whatever, Asian or whatever, I don't think, well, there's a minority. I see another person, another human being, another guy, another woman, whatever. And if you want, the next step would be, as in religious aspect, I see another human being, another image of God, a brother in humanity, a fellow American. I don't see, well, that's a minority. I don't ask, what's your political party? I don't base friends on that or anything like that. But you can see this mantra has started, and they've taken advantage of the fact that no one teaches on the principles that this country was founded on in schools anymore. And they wait till the higher education system, where these liberal professors who have these outlandish ideas, and that, you know, they gotta somehow social justice and all this, and then you get the political parties for the minorities. So when they started all of that, hey, we gotta have representation for the minorities, which meant less in number. So the African Americans were the loudest and everything on that. So we started getting African American senators and Congress people and this and everything. Then, truthfully, to tell you the truth, then the Mexicans went, well, wait a minute, because Mexicans are more conservative. Hispanics are generally more conservative than they are liberal. We got to have our representation too. We're not just going to let you, you know, grab the reins and you're going to represent all minorities. You know, which means groups in less in number. So then we got our Mexican, we got our Asian, we got all different people in Congress and stuff, and that's the way it should be. But and while they represent their people to some point, that's okay. The main core that they should be representing is the fabric of the country, what's done within the guidelines of the Constitution and everything. And now they're pushing, they kind of went minority rules over. So you don't, in that aspect, you don't even have democracy according, you know, majority rules. Now, instead of the two wolves having the majority and running the show, now the lamb, they want the minority, the lamb, to rule over the majority of the wolves, if you want to put it that way and use that. I'm sure it was Benjamin Franklin analogy. So now they have, that's anti-democracy even. That's what socialism and communism and all that is. Now it's not even the general consensus of the majority of the people. It's these few who want to rule over the many. You understand? They're flipping it around. They're even going from democracy, which is majority rules. Now they want to do the minority rules. And sadly, these other groups who are minorities, and I'm not meaning by skin color, I just mean less in number, because that's what it's supposed to mean. Whether they're Asian or Hispanic or whatever, they're still being lumped in with the liberal, you know, far left groups, and their Congress people and everything like that don't get support unless they go along with this liberal agenda. They don't get support from the other members of Congress who represent minority groups. There's nothing that says because you are a minority, Hispanic, Asian, African American, or whatever, that you all have to be lumped into and agree the same kind of politics and the same kind of policies. You can be a minority group and be totally conservative. You can be totally conservative, but they won't let it happen. Because if you're a minority group, you're going to be forced into, if you're leadership of a minority group, you're going to be forced into this extreme leftist stuff, whether you want to or not. Your Congress people, your senators and stuff are going to be pressured to be leftist, even though you yourself are not. You might be Hispanic, you might not believe in abortion, you might not believe in the legalization of drugs and all this, but the people that you vote for to represent you, to represent your group, are going to be forced to go along, and they already are in many things. They're forced to go along with what the mob rules in the other senators and stuff that represent minority groups, or they don't even represent the minority groups. They represent the liberal leftist agenda. Put it that way. And so you got a Hispanic senator or a Hispanic congressperson. They might be Democrat or whatever. There might be something comes up that they don't believe in. But if they don't go with the flow, they're not going to be in office again. They will find somebody who is just as leftist as they are. You see how it's working? It's becoming, I think we need to get rid of that whole idea, minority. You're just an American, just like me. That's it. I don't believe the vast number of people who you could put into that minority, whether they're Arab Americans, Asian Americans, whatever, that you could say are minorities because of their numbers, fit into that leftist, liberal doctrine. Personally themselves. They don't believe in all that stuff. I don't know any Arabs, any that run around and say, I'm a minority in this country. I've never met anybody, Asian, that I'm a minority. The Asians I've known have been conservative, but their leadership in Congress and stuff is liberal Democrat. They got to be, or else they'll be forced out. So do you see what's happening and how they use words and this stuff? Minority's just supposed to mean less in number. It's not supposed to mean this leftist policy stuff. It's not supposed to mean of color or less capable people, this type of thing and like that. It's almost a derogatory term by the people who use it to describe the people they represent, more so than it is from anybody on the right. When they say minorities, they mean people of color instead of less in number. They mean liberal, far left agenda when they say minorities. If you are a person of color and you're Republican and conservative, what do? They attack you. If you're Hispanic and you're a person who believes in Republican and conservative values and all this, what do? They attack you. So they have totally taken what was meant to be a good thing and give people who are less in number of different ethnic groups their voice, whether they were Republican voices or Democratic voices, a hearsay and be represented. But they have cowed everybody into this doctrine. If you're a minority group, they're just calling it, well, you're a person of color, so you have to believe this doctrine. You're a person of color, doesn't matter. You're not the white man in this country. You're African American, you're Mexican, you're Asian, you're Arab, whatever it is. You have to adopt this far left stuff and vote for these. Hey, everybody'd like to have a senator or a president or something from their own race. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, they're only going to pick ones who match their doctrine. Look at all the African Americans who've run on the Republican side for president. They've been crucified, pretty much, in the media during every election. Go back, look at them all, because they were conservative, had conservative values, this and that. There ain't no way the black community's going to vote for him. Ain't no way. They've been told it's wrong. You can't vote for, if you vote for him, you're not one of us. He's not one of us. Do you see how they play that? They're the ones who are dividing people. They are the ones who are dividing this country. You can't think for yourself. You can't decide if you're an African American man that you want to be conservative and you don't believe in abortion and all this other stuff. You can't. You can't say you don't believe in Black Lives Matter and the stuff that's going on if you're an African American man without being attacked. You cannot be a Mexican American and believe in conservative values and believe we ought to control the people coming across the border without being attacked. There's plenty of you out there, I've met you, who say, you know, yeah, we want people to come in the country, but this is ridiculous. And they get all this aid and everything like this and everything, and they don't even care. They hate the country. Plenty of Mexican Americans who are conservative and, you know, say we got to have some kind of immigration policy and stuff, that this is ridiculous, just letting people flood into the country all the time. And since they aren't white, the left can't call them racist, but they call them every other name and stuff they can come up with, and you know, pretty much it's terror tactics. It's like gang thug tactics. If you're African American, you better go along with what we're doing. You better go along with our political agenda. You better do it. You'll be sorry. Same thing in the Hispanic community. They will call people out in public and make threats and this and that, get people fired if you speak your mind. This is terrorist tactics, political. They're attacking you on your political beliefs, causing you to be fired and everything like this for anything you say in public, or trying to. And there's a lot of these corporations with no backbone. I don't know, maybe some of these people made their way up the ladder and are at the heads of these corporations now. I think that's what it is. They're embracing that capitalist system. They're making millions of dollars. They're embracing that system for themselves. But then when you know, the party says, hey, you got to fire somebody, whatever that's espousing the views that have allowed you to rise to the top. You know, if you don't fire that person or whatever, you know, we're gonna boycott. We're gonna do all this, and they get fired too easy. So I think a lot of these people at the top of these corporations are moles who've worked their way in. They've got no backbone. No backbone at all. So you need to wake up to what's going on. If you're not one of us, we're coming after you. And that's what happens in all these countries. Our democracy is at attack. Your political views should not, or your religious views, or your views on abortion and this and that, or homosexuality, as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not using derogatory terms and or racial terms and stuff like this, you should not be able to be fired for your views, your free speech. So, wanted to put that out there. You need to wake up the way they use words and the way they're misinforming people about how this system works and how this country was founded. They've started this a while back. If anybody can see it, you open your eyes. They've got people believing, yeah, this is the new revolution. Don Lemon, Dim Lemon, CNN even referred to all the looting and everything going on as, hey, don't think these people are acting like savages. This is the new, those are his words, not mine. This is the new Boston Tea Party. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Don. I think you're missing the mark there. But that's what they want people to think who are involved in this. Hey, you're part of something great. You're part of the new revolution. we're going to set things right. We're going to do this. You look at all the tactics of Castro and anybody, all these people, and look at what's going on in this country, and it's the same stuff. And we are not a communist socialist country. We never will be. We were not founded on those principles. We have a right to keep our principles as the nation that we are and not let it be taken over. And like the Constitution says, protect it from enemies both foreign and domestic. These people are out to ruin this country and shape it into what they want it to be. We are being taken over from the inside by people who have been led astray, however you want to put it, brainwashed. There's a lot we need to fix in the right ways and stuff and everything. But the way they're doing it and everything is a whole nother agenda. And if you're African American, Mexican American, Asian American, whatever, you got to ask yourself, do you really believe what these people believe? Do you believe babies should be killed right up at the time of birth? Do you believe all this other stuff? And you don't. And they tell you, well, that's okay. You as long as you don't publicly do that, and as long as you don't vote for the other side and stuff, yeah, just like they say right now. They try and say, well, those looters and stuff, they aren't part of Black Lives Matter and the demonstrations and stuff and Antifa. They're Antifa. They're all this other stuff. So all they want, you're along for the ride. They'll let you say, hey, yeah, you don't have to believe with everything they say, but stick with them. You're part of the new whatever and all this and everything. Is that right? That you can't speak out and say, no, I don't believe in any of the crap you're doing. I'm gonna go vote independent, or I'm gonna go vote Republican, or I'm gonna denounce all this looting and stuff. You can't do that if you're African American. Some have bravely stepped out and said, no, this ain't right. And they've come under attack. These morons, what'd they do? That one's even in Congress said you got to go to the restaurants and their homes and all this and everything like this. Those are threats and intimidations in the political system, and that is not democracy. That is not what this country is built on. That we're gonna find you, we're gonna get you fired, we're gonna do this, everything like that. Look at how many people don't believe in homosexuality and stuff like this. They don't go around the businesses and saying, hey, you got to fire that homosexual. I think your waiter's a homosexual. You need to fire him or we're going to boycott. Do you see that? I've never seen that anywhere. Oh, your waitress believes in abortion. You better fire her. We don't believe in that. Never seen that. Never seen that coming from the right. They will voice their opinions. Hey, that's wrong. Blah, blah, blah. We're gonna vote people into office who oppose all that stuff. We're not gonna let that happen in America. Right is right, wrong is wrong. But these people want to change the whole fabric of the society to where you cannot have a different opinion. You cannot have a different political affiliation, or they are going to come after you. I'm 55 going on 56, and I have never seen that type of attitude from either political party before in this country. As vicious as it is getting, it's got to stop. You're going to tear the country apart. And like I said before, maybe that's what they want. Maybe that's what they're looking for. Somehow, they think they're going to get what they want, a race or a civil war or something like that. Divide us even more, and somehow through all that they're going to get what they want. They're going to get more and more people to rise up and join the revolution or whatever it's going to be. You start hearing those words, you better start really getting alarmed. Those are the words for the Marxists and socialists and stuff like that. Our revolution was about freedom, about having a nation built on laws and stuff where the people had a say everything was done common sensely instead of some monarch who just said, you know, we're going to tax the hell out of you and bring all the money back over here. You're not going to have a say in your courts, anything like that. You're not going to have any representation at all. Minorities, there's the word again. You have representation in Congress. You have lawyers. You have people in judgeships. You have people in the Supreme Court. We are an inclusive society. They're trying to use that inclusiveness to divide us. They're trying to tell you, because of your color, you can't see things the way a white guy sees things. It's not possible. You can't see things the way the established society sees things, on how business ought to operate and government ought to operate. You can't see it that way because you're a person of color. Because you are in this group we call minorities. Lots of Asians aren't for legalizing drugs and abortion and all this stuff and everything like that. And a lot of Hispanics aren't. But you're being forced to go, you know, lockstep with what these people want, under threat. Does that sound like democracy to you? That's not democracy. That is not you being able to exercise your rights as a United States citizen. You have to understand that. They are not letting you exercise your rights as a United States citizen to disagree with them and say, you know what? We might be a minority group, we might be less in number, but we don't agree with you. We don't agree with you at all. We're gonna vote conservative or independent or whatever like that. You do not have to go lockstep with these people who have taken over the Democratic Party just because you're in a quote-unquote minority group. You do not have to go along with them. Don't be afraid. This is the United States of America. Stand up. Don't be afraid to say, I'm not down with that just because I'm in a minority group. Exercise your free speech, your free political speech, your right to vote indifferently. You do not have to go with the herd. Oh, he said we're all, now he's referring to his animals herd. Come on, man. The mob, all right? It's another thing that everybody's hypersensitive in this country. You say the wrong word, and I don't mean a racial slur or anything like that. I mean just something that somebody can take and twist around and make it seem like you said something wrong. All right, you don't have to go along with the masses. You don't have to go along with the, you know, the mob, the whatever. Just because you quote unquote are in their demographic or group. All right, wish you all the best out there again. I'm gonna get out of these wet clothes. It's been a wet, nasty day, and get a little rest and then get after it again. Wish you all the best. God bless. I think other things I'll sure enough post them up here. You all have a good one. Be safe. Adios.